webinar on the latest releases of Base27. Well, the people that have joined us before know the drill. I give a very short introduction, and then Berend takes you through everything. I don't think we have to introduce anymore, and I'll just give the floor to Berend. And just one remark up front: questions can be asked at any moment, so please use the chat for that. Keep in mind that the chat can be seen by everyone; it's public. But as usual, questions welcome, and let's go. Berend, you have the floor.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Welcome, everybody. We are going to go over all the new functionality of Base27 in the last couple of releases. It's quite a long list, so bear with me going over them. I'm pretty sure we cannot explain it all, but I hope you get a good impression of the possibilities. Anyway, let's get started. Let's go into it. One thing that we released to all customers in the February release, I believe it was, is the options for Kanban boards. And let's dive right into it using the team assignments, a special option also available for a bit longer. But that now has been extended by the use of a table view as well as a Kanban view, which allows you to work with all the assigned items to your team, in this case, or to you in general, and work in a Kanban style. So if, for example, I have here, I believe it's an incident, no, it's a finding, sorry. I can double click it, access the information, but I can also click it and see my remarks and statuses here. Perhaps change the ownership, set a deadline, or alter a description. Working on it in this way, but I can also drag it along in the Kanban board. Other options are there as well. This is the expanded view in which I can see the descriptions of all these cards. I can switch to the compact view, which I see all the cards more closely related. I can configure the entire Kanban board by setting several columns and in which stage several entity types should be showing up. What's the name? What's the color of it? Maybe adding a new column at the end or removing a column. And let's revert that one. I can also do that for different teams here. Possibly I could even have different Kanban boards configured for the different teams as such. To enable this, mind you, that you need to go to the settings. Let's go and have a quick look there. And there is an option, use Kanban boards on start pages, which you need to tick. Once you do that, every user gets the option to use these Kanban boards. While we are at the settings, let's take a quick look at the other ones, another change as well. That's about the new setting for reminding users of a deadline that is coming up. Previously, this was fixed one day upfront. You get your first notification of a deadline, but now that's configured. We have changed the default to 1 week. So if you want to revert it to the original, it would be 1 day, but we thought it wise to make it 1 week. But you can even say, okay, but I want this 2 weeks or maybe 5 days. That's an option in which users get notified 5 days in front of the deadline coming up. So that's a new setting there. Let's take a quick look on my notes, because like I said, we have a lot to go over. Let's revert this one, don't save. And let's check out the incident registration, because there have been some slight changes. If you would register an incident and it would be of the type data breach, you would typically get a data breach tab. And basically, that's still the case for existing customers, well, also new customers currently. The default behavior in which the data breach tab would appear is still in there. However, I've configured some authorities, and one of these authorities is the autoriteit persoonsgegevens, which I then connected to this specific type of data breaches. And because I did so, I get the same behavior, or similar behavior, I should say, as it was with the data breaches, where the autoriteit persoonsgegevens is now a tab in which I can have all the information about the autoriteit persoonsgegevens at hand, but also fill out all of the forms and the data that applies to the data form, the incident report form of the authority, of the privacy authority in this case. But this can be extended. So if we take a look at the setup and you go to manage authorities, you can see I've not only configured the autoriteit persoonsgegevens, but also the NIS2 authority for the located at the NCSC. And as you might know, there's now a special form for reporting incidents, so I've configured that one. And I also did some setup in reporting certain fields from incidents that I need for reporting it to the authority. And I can configure all of these fields by creating certain sections about it. And then for each section, I can say, okay, which fields do I want to have show up in this particular section? Now, this authority is available at all times. If I have, for example, a data breach, which is kind of automatically configured to include the autoriteit persoonsgegevens, but I can also say, well, in this particular case, we also need to report it at the NCSC, the NIS2 reporting, and I can see, okay, I not only have the autoriteit persoonsgegevens now available, but also all of the information that I configured for the NCSC. Now, maybe you want to have a dedicated type that you want to link to the NCSC. That can be done based on the default authority information. I can also say, well, in any major incident, this is the authority that we need to report on, or maybe for certain vulnerabilities as well. So if I do save, and then go to the incident, and I would say, okay, but actually this is a vulnerability, you can see, okay, well, in that case, you've configured that the authority should be included for this type of incident, and therefore it's already automatically available, and I can fill out that data as well. So that's quite a change for working with the incidents, but there's a smooth transition, meaning you can still use the current setup for data breaches that's still there, until you start configuring your own authorities. Now, I can imagine that you, for example, the autoriteit persoonsgegevens and the NIS2 reporting, that's very generic. So that applies for multiple customers in the same way. We are in the process of sharing these configurations with you. We already have import and export options to quickly exchange them for customer instances, but we will probably have these instances configured with the next update automatically. So then you get the default configuration as we see fit available to your installation. But if you need, you can already set things up beforehand based on this functionality. Okay, let's check it out again. Oh, there's one small thing I thought to remember mentioning here, because not only this behavior on the authority has changed, we also did a similar change to the cause and impact analysis that we did for the findings a few releases ago. That is to separate the input of cause, scope, and impact on the incidents in separate fields. But you can revert, and actually all existing incidents will revert to just having a single field here and filling it out with your own content. You can decide whether or not you want to use the separate. This is the default, by the way. So we kind of think it's a good idea to make this more explicit, but it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Okay. Then there is a change on the evaluations, and we have been asked for it in different scopes and use case scenarios. But one of them was on the objectives, where, for example, if you have this objective for security awareness, you have your improvement plan, you might have some KPIs connected. But at some point, you want to kind of make a comment, do an update on what is the actual status. Where are we in terms of achieving this specific objective? Now, previously, we kind of recommended customers to add a comment. And, just mention your update and it's stored with the objective and it's fine. But we've changed that somewhat and made a dedicated tab, evaluations, in which you can have several evaluations over time and have them properly listed here as well. And if you want to add one, it's quite easy going forward. Some delay in planning awareness activities, picking it up this month. So today I've added yet another evaluation mentioning some progress, so I can really illustrate and track the way forward on all of these evaluations. This specific implementation is not only available on objectives, it's also there on findings and also on risks. And I'm checking out the risks as well. Let me see if I have a English one here. Probably, there's one. Let's pick it out. And it means we've did some changes in the setup on the tabs. Previously, you had this risk mitigation here. That's now a single tab, directly accessible. Then you get to your treatment plan. And then finally, you get to your evaluation, which previously was called the history, because again, it has all these different entries of your risk assessment. So also here you can do your evaluations, but also for risks, you can then set likelihood, impact levels, etc., depending on your new assessment of where you are with this specific risk. So it becomes more general way of working, of doing some evaluations for these kinds of objects. Now, another change applicable as well is that we change the selection of countermeasures for a treatment plan, whether that be on the risk or on a finding or on an incident where you need to add certain countermeasures. Previously, that was done by some side bars on the right side of this table, but that has been moved to kind of different adding options in which you can now still add a single countermeasure based on adding it here directly. Or you can say, okay, let's look at the existing countermeasures and then make a selection. And when you do so, you can now make this selection by just clicking on the tick marks. Although working with specific selections as well is possible also. So this doesn't make any sense, but after selecting the countermeasures, I can say, yeah, I want to link them to the list of countermeasures for this specific treatment plan. So this is based on the existing countermeasures, but I can also do the same to available controls. I can close it again or switch while I'm in the first one, and then switch the other view based on the different frameworks that I have. So this behavior is now available at risks, at findings, at incidents, etc., to have a more intuitive way of selecting your treatment plan, setting up your treatment plan. Okay, let me check off my list of things to go over. Next up, let's take a look at the editor on the policy articles or pages. Well, it's still in Dutch. Apologies for that one. It does state the English names, however, but that's just the UI. Now, when I click on edit, you can see that there are some various changes. The most important being the editor that has been changed, which still allows you to do all kinds of formatting. We did provide an entirely new editor, so the look and feel might be slightly different, but more options are available, and the editor works better consistently, allows for pasting formats by, for example, from a Word document or whatever, more consistently, and have that still maintained. So there are a lot of options here, but all the existing options, for example, to import a cell or create a table, import a cell, that's still there, but selection of these cells is now more easy, and then say, okay, I want this all to be bold as a heading, and work with it like that, or remove, in this case, the entire table, I thought, but that's this button there to use. Also a slight change, some layouting and content types that was previously located in the side menu at the properties. We've now provided that on the main page, and you can easily switch between, okay, well, I do have text, but maybe I want to instead upload a file, or actually use a link for my policy, so linking to an external page or whatever. Now, why would you do that? Obviously, if you, for example, have a file, you might have some existing policy that you want to upload. So this functionality was already in there for quite a long time. But then from this point on, you can still link to various frameworks. You can do your review, so you can get your version history, etc. I do see a question about the generate text with AI. Let's look at that briefly. It's actually a feature that's been in Base27 for, well, much of a year now, I guess, but you have to switch it on, first of all. So in the settings, you need to allow the use of AI. If you don't, this button does not appear. Where can you use it for? Well, basically for generating your text, your policy perhaps. And when you do, you can say, okay, the text should be at, it takes some of the input from the actual title in this case. Maybe you want to take something in account, like it's a small company. You might say, well, it should be a policy, but maybe it's not a policy. It's actually more of a company checklist or checklist. Not sure if that makes sense, but let's go with it anyway. And then you can have say, well, but I want to have certain sections in this text that it needs to apply to, for example, purpose, scope, policy. Making a checklist here, that will not work. So let's revert that one. You can extend that, change it, and then when you say, oh, I agree, by the way, it also takes the input from the framework where applicable, and then you can say, okay, let's generate the text, and the system starts generating a policy, and at some point there should be some content added to the, there it is, added to the system. So it mentions the sections that we defined. It should probably, yeah, within our small company, so took that one into account, etc. So you can create your policies in a consistent way directly from within Base27, but obviously, as you do know, using AI always requires you to carefully review the output before making this something final. Once done, it's clearly identified what's being generated through AI, but yeah, obviously you need to remove the formatting. I'm only partly doing that now. And then, you know, make it your own. So if that answers your questions, where can you edit this option in the setup? Yeah, let's quickly take a look at it. It's again at the settings. We were there before, and there is a setting, allow the use of AI. And this is by default off. So we really want you to confirm using AI within Base27. That's why it is in there. By the way, anything that you are submitting, yeah, it's submitted to OpenAI, meaning it's outside of the EU. So that's why we want you to carefully use it. But none of that information is being stored or used for training purposes, etc. So that's all being disabled. It's not being used like that, but still it goes to a service provider in the US. So take that into account. One thing I also wanted to mention is that we have refurbished kind of the way of setting up books and articles. Previously, you needed to select a book firsthand. Now the active book is directly selectable. And not only that, if you change, for example, oh, wait, we have this procedures plan and we want to enable it as well, we can say, okay, let's enable it. We can regenerate the menu. And then from that point on, this book procedures is now available here as well. Or disable it again. Yes, and regenerate. And we're back in the original setup. The actual list of books is still there. So you can still work with the same thing. You can add new books here, etc. But working with the books and working with the articles, by the way, is also changed somewhat because, sorry, this is already not in use. But if you have one that is in use, you can also deactivate that specific item directly from the list instead of doing it here. So small refactoring in working with the books and the structure and all of the articles, etc. Okay, next up, let's close this one and let's go to personal data and to processing activities. A small change, but it might be very useful to you, is that we do have the options now to have a certain processing activity and then say, okay, let's copy this one. So I already have debiteurenbeheer. I make a copy. It opens up with a copy behind it. Obviously, you want to do something with it, make some changes, but you can have like a similar processing activity that you can then reuse and have all the information there copied over. Meaning it's not all the information, for example, processing activities, they are not linked immediately. You need to do that yourself once more. Also on this page, but that's throughout Base27, at least throughout of the pages where you have these table options, which I hope you are aware of. There's an option now included to do an export. Export the selection to Excel file, meaning if I have these 3 items selected and I click on the Excel file, it prompts me whether I want to just export the selected rows, or do I want to export all rows in the view, well, let's say just the selected rows. What it does, it quickly generates an Excel file based on this content, based also on the way this is presented. So, for example, it's grouped by main process. There is a title column, a control column, information systems column, etc. The information that you selected in this table, that's the information that's being exported to Excel. So if you want to include or exclude certain information, you can do so and have that used for your exports. One thing to note is that this is not automatically available to all users. It's available to power users, more or less. But if you want to make it available to all users, we can enable that. But due to well, the risk of sharing information, sensitive information in Base27, outside of Base27 by these exports, we kind of limited it initially. But as a countermeasure, we also added one feature that whenever you do an export, it's being logged in the system that on the processing activities, 3 records were exported on this time by Berentel in this case. So we can always kind of backtrack, well, not exactly what has been exported because we don't know which records, but we can see that there were some records being exported. And that's being logged on any of the exports that you do within Base27. In this log, there is also a record being added whenever a user tries to log in but fails to log in. So failed logins are listed in the audit system auditing logging as well. We already did it in the application logging, but that's on the back end. It's now being added to the system auditing log as well. So you might want to check it out once or twice to see if anything odd is going on there. Okay, let me again cross out the stuff I mentioned to you. Still some things to go. Next up, a change that's been available for enterprise users which do have this option of having questionnaires and question forms for assessments and whatnot. If you have such a question form, questionnaire to start off with, which is basically just, well, it just has a single category, just a single list of questions. But at some point you can say, okay, but how are we going to complete the form? That could be, until now there were 4 options. There are still 4 options, which could be that, well, you just submit the form and it's done. But you can also say, well, but I want to do some kind of approval. Again, this was already in there, but one change that we made is that you now can configure these options. So it's you can actually add your own way of completing the form. But if we are going to look at this this approval layout, we can see, okay, it does require a reviewer. And once submitted, we have these options available, a reject and an approve options. And maybe we could also have some other status here as well. But let's say I want to slightly change the captions for these options, or maybe the descriptions, maybe the color of these options, and to what state they should revert after this has been applied. But let's leave it quite easily now for this one. Save. So whenever I now do a, yeah, let me do the review as well, just for demonstration purposes. Whenever you fill out a question form like this, you need to submit it. Yes, let's check it out. Should be somewhere there. Yeah, this is the submitted form from just now. So now I'm going to review, and what we see is that instead of reject and approve, the buttons now have slightly changed to rejected and approved. Obviously, this can be all kinds of buttons, all kinds of captions that you want to apply, etc. It's a small change, but with some neat appliances. And more specifically, we do know that some customers really have a need for having the right descriptions and the right captions on these buttons. So that's now a possibility as well. Then something I wanted to mention as well is that I think it's good to know that the custom fields that we sometimes add for customers is now I don't think this is the best way to go over them, by the way. Let's see. What custom field should I use? I'm not entirely aware anymore. I know there's one here, that's for sure. I have here a custom field that's called risk profile, which is not a system default field. So here it is. And I also know there's some data, so that's nice. And already you can see what happened. Previously, these custom fields, you could not sort on them. Now you can, and not only that, you can also use them for grouping. So something that was not, at least not in all cases, possible, you can now use these fields in a more generic way, just like any other fields, without the limitations of sorting, grouping, etc. I do see two questions. Let's pick them up. They're from the audit trail. How detailed is the failed login attempt? It does not distinguish between wrong password or invalid 2FA. It just states the username that was provided. Not sure if it includes the password. I don't think it does. And obviously the timestamp at which it occurred. Is it possible to add the IDs of exported records in the audit trail logs? Yeah, that's about the exports. Well, since exports can be quite lengthy, we kind of hesitated doing that. But I do see that it might be useful to include that kind of information instead of just the amount of records. We need to check that one out, to what extent that's possible. Okay, having said that about the custom fields, let's take another look at one of the options that's now also available. And you might have noticed it, I was here before. There's there is a tab now called Monte Carlo, but actually this is a custom tab, which we already supported to have available. But we do now have the option to have a lot of more functionality there regarding the way of working with all of these fields, showing them in a table layout, but also, and that's maybe the most important stuff, is you can do some calculations based on them. If I say recalculate, I'm missing some information here. Not sure what the value should be, but I do think, or I might have disabled it just to be for my normal demo purposes. Anyway, normally you could do some calculations, and then once they are performed, these values are stored as well. So you can have calculated fields, custom fields that is, so with a lot of behavior that you might want to change, want to apply. One of these scenarios, but which I probably turned off at some point, is, for example, applying a Monte Carlo calculation on risks. But you can obviously think of your own scenarios in which you have some fields that you need to do some processing on, or you want to do some processing with on the different entities. So know that that now is a possibility as for configuration. Okay, let me cross that one out as well. Done. So we are nearing the end, but we are already way over time. But still, I want to kind of wrap it up. In January, we published the updated NEN 7510 framework, the 2024 version. And just like with the 27001 version, there is the option for a migration, which you can do similar like the 27001, migrate all your NEN-specific controls and references to the new framework, similar to the way it worked with the 27001. Obviously, migration plans and stuff like that are also available. Other things that we've been working on is an updated set of Dutch laws reflecting the 2025 changes. One major change is coming up. Take note that the WBNE, which officially is still the applicable law, will in shortly be replaced by the Cyberbeveiligingswet. Once that is the case, we will include it in here as well, and probably next release, and then you will have the Cyberbeveiligingswet available in this framework as well. Various other frameworks have been included within our library, a lot of them regarding operational technology on the 62443, ISO 62443. But for example, also the 24001 on artificial intelligence, the quality mark, which is a framework used for NIS2 implementations, as well as the Siphon framework for especially Belgian users, customers. That's their implementation for the NIS2. Various other frameworks have been done, and one big framework is coming up. It's about the Dutch health laws, so Nederlandse zorgwetten, as applicable to the NEN 7510. So we have created a framework just like the ones with the Dutch laws in general that will allow you to kind of make a statement of applicability, a overview of all the laws that might be relevant for your NEN 7510 certification. So that really helps out, we believe, for supporting that in a proper way and by Base27. So keep a lookout on that, on these updates, as we will publish them. If you want to read something back regarding the updates, I do want to point out that you can use the community portal. Please take a look at that there. I hope you can, you know how to find it. Let me quickly show you by, if I open the support option, there is this big button, view the community portal. And once I do, I'm getting redirected to the community portal, and I'm logged in, so I can see all the information. important ones are updates of the manual, updates. That's why I wanted to mention it, of the stuff that we have added recently in 2025, the updates that we did in last year, etc. You can look them up, but also take a look at our, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Yeah, let me somehow, sorry, I'm clicking just beside it. There it is. You can take a look at the roadmap. What are we working on? Well, we are working on table redesign. I think that's a major one coming up. Combined risk and countermeasure reporting, conditional question form. So there's a lot going on. More to come. Take a look at that. You can also submit your ideas if you have ideas, or vote on ideas already submitted. Steering our roadmap and development in that way. I do see there is a question by Marcel about the framework. Let's refer to that one. About the compliancy. Well, let me quickly take a look at that. The question is, what does steer the color of the compliancy? When is it green? Well, there are several colors. So grayish when there is no information available for making a statement about the compliancy. And there might be some other colors, like a bluish one, which indicates that there has been a finding indicating a possible improvement. A orange one stating a minor non-conformity, a red when it's a major non-conformity. When all of the findings have been resolved, it would turn green, or if there is some check being performed, it doesn't show up here, but if there are some checks related to this control, and these checks have been performed and were positive, then it will show up green as well. So depending on both, or either, I would say, checks or findings that have been reported upon. So here there's this minor new conformity. The color of the compliancy is controlled, so it really serves as a indication for compliancy in that way. Mark is suggesting, I think this is what Marcel meant. I hope I've answered that. Still some things to go, so I hope you still have time to join me there. What we did is also provide a status page. You can easily find it. This is the status page on Base27. If you type in your URL in your browser, status.base27.eu, that would lead you to this specific page, and you can see the availability of Base27 over the last 90 days. Regretfully, I must say we are a bit down because of the update that we did in April, which somehow was misinterpreted by the monitoring. It should not have been red, it should have been green. Because it was plain maintenance, but something went wrong in the scheduling there. So we hope to avoid that next time. But overall, this should give you a proper view on the availability. So if you have availability problems with Base27, you might want to check out this page, status.base27.eu, to see if it's just you, or is there anything wrong at our side. It should show up here. It's controlled through Uptime Robot. You can actually register for notification. So anytime there's a downtime, you can get notified by that through the status page. Okay. I crossed out basically all of my list. I have one more thing to announce. That is that, as we saw, there's a lot of changes going on. Obviously, you might not have already discovered all of the features that Base27 offered, and you might want to take advantage of that. We are now offering a open user training for all our customers on Wednesday, June 4th. So that's in a couple of weeks. You will get an email about it this week. And we do all invite you to attend, subscribe to this training. It's free of charge. You're free to join the training. Not only the ones, the people that we are directly sending the email to, but maybe people from your user base or your team, you might want to submit them for joining the training as well. So take a look at the emails coming up this week and subscribe to joining this user training that we provide on Wednesday, June 4th. That's a Wednesday at 10 o'clock, probably, free of charge. Okay. Can I see it later? Yeah, Miriam, we will do a recording of it. So that's for the other users as well. We make an announcement that it's being recorded, that all of their questions, etc., will be shared as well. So, but do register for the meeting, because we will send the recording only to the people registered for this training. Even if you don't attend, you might want to comment on that. Okay. Yeah. That's it from my part. I don't know if there are any questions left. We had to take our time due to all the changes that we went over. I hope it helped explaining them. Yeah. No questions left, I guess.
Good show, Berend. Yeah, and otherwise, I think people will know how to find you and the help desk and everything. So I think that that will find its way. Okay, let's close off. Thank you. And well, as you know, everything is recorded. You will get a link so you can see it back. And it's also available on our YouTube channel, should you have lost it somehow. Okay, see you again next time. Thanks.
See you. Bye-bye.